How's it going, everybody? I'm Steve. Welcome back. So tonight I want to talk about a hard rock and metal writer. His name is Martin Popoff. A lot of you may know him. He's actually on YouTube quite a bit. He's on the Contrarians. That's his main channel. You see him on like Sea of Tranquility. He's on there a lot. He's on Almost Human. He's also on Lair of the Alchemist. Those are at least the 4 channels I've seen him on. Let me know in the comments. You've probably seen him elsewhere, but Martin's been writing this. He's been writing for probably about 3 decades now, and he actually has a series that I've been reading quite a bit. There's actually I've got like 6 books here, and let me know. Basically, this channel is not a book channel, but these books are kind of different though. They're more like reference guides and not really straight up novels necessarily. But I've read some good ones. I think some of my favorite ones here. I'm going to kind of rank them a little bit here. My favorite one I've read so far is AC/DC, album by album. It's called the album by album series, but this one's probably the best one, the one I've liked the most. Another one I really like is the Iron Maiden, album by album. A lot of these books are kind of like different sizes too. Some are a little bit taller than others, but this one's really good. I really enjoyed the one on Rush. This one's really good. And then one I like this band a lot, but I didn't like it as much as some of the others. But it's Pink Floyd. Thought this one was fun. One thing I've learned on these books, you don't have to read them like novels. You can read these like you don't have to read the chapters in order. You can go to like your favorite albums and just kind of go, spot like, kind of in different spots and stuff like that. And basically you can read them all, but you can read them whatever order you want to, like your favorite albums first. The last one that I've read was on Queen. This one's probably I enjoy this one, but not as much as the others. I'm not as big of a Queen fan, but I like a lot of their albums, especially like there's one really great thing about these books is that Martin will interview like really famous people, and this one on the Night of the Opera. He interviewed Sir Paul McCartney. So that to me, that's part of the what really makes these really great. Just different people that he's interviewed in these, and they kind of give their thoughts. But they have lots of great pictures and stuff in it. They'll show stuff like from the band, like stuff on the road, like concert tickets and stuff. But like I said, the people they interviews are probably like the best part of it. Just like because some of them will do like 2 or 3 different chapters in the book. But the most recent one I bought here, all these other books I bought used, but this one I had to buy. The 6th book I have here, I had to buy it brand new because I couldn't find it anywhere else used, and it just got released I think like maybe late 2024 or maybe earlier this year possibly. But this is on Judas Priest, and so far I've read 3 chapters on this so far. I started with Defenders of the Faith, probably my favorite album from Judas Priest. I read also British Steel, and I also read Screaming for Vengeance. All those are really great. I think that the next one I'll probably read is probably A Killing Machine, which is also known as Hellbent for Leather. That's really I'll go with that, and then I'll probably do Stained Class. Probably be the 5th one I do. But that's the great thing about this. Like you don't have to read these in order. You can go whatever chapter you want to, and just kind of fill in the blanks. Basically, so I'm going to read. This has 19 chapters in it. I'm going to read them all. It's focused on different albums, but it's got a lot of this one has a lot of great photos and stuff like that. Just a lot of live photos from the band. Like I said, concert tickets, and they kind of break down each album here. They'll give all the song titles but as far as the people that he interviews in this, as far as YouTube, if you watch a lot of YouTube like I do, I've got like 2 YouTube channels. I have one. This is my music channel. I also have a movie channel too. They're both called. One's called Excelsior Music Reviews, and the other one's Excelsior Movie Reviews. But so I'm like a YouTube junkie. But I was mentioning Sea of Tranquility earlier. There's a guy named Pete Pardo. He's interviewed in this book. As well as John Gaffney. He's a part of Lair of the Alchemist. He's interviewed in that, so it's cool. Like I said, Martin's been on those channels quite a bit, so he had those YouTubers interviewed on this. So that's really cool. They've kind of become famous. Like YouTubers, a lot of like John Gaffney's actually is a musician. he's not like in like famous necessarily anything like that, but he's had actually famous musicians on his channel. But as far as like big time people that have known are known worldwide, he's had Marty Freeman from Megadeth. As far as in this book, he interviews them. Marty Freeman. He interviewed Todd La Torre from Queensryche. You have Charlie Benante from Anthrax and now in Pantera, still in both bands. But Chris Gaffney from Sabotage and Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Has Bobby Blitz Ellsworth from Overkill, and he has Devin Townsend is in it too. Also, he has Slash from Guns N' Roses and Velvet Revolver and all those different bands. So that's what makes this really appealing. Like I said, this is not a book channel. You're not going to hear me talk about books in this channel very often. But these are kind of, like I said, these are more like reference guides as opposed to being books. And like I said, you don't have to start with chapter 1 and then read in order. You can, like I said, you can skip around. But it's great to hear these famous people kind of give their thoughts on different albums, on Judas Priest and all these the other 5 books I was talking about. To hear famous people talk about these books and give their thoughts on each song. What songs they like the most and what songs that as far as when they listen to these albums, do they like every song. Do they like, some songs better than others? It makes it great to check that out, just to hear, famous people kind of give their thoughts on these classic bands like, Judas Priest and, like I said, Iron Maiden and AC/DC, just to give their thoughts on it. And then, Martin kind of, he'll start off the chapter with like a paragraph of his thoughts on the band. And then he'll ask, each person that he's interviewing, their thoughts on different songs on it. So like I said, I can't wait to check out Killing Machine. Like I said, it's in my top 5, and so is Stained Class is in there too, and so it makes a lot of fun. Just Judas Priest is just their band that's been around for over 50 years now. KK Downing and Glenn Tipton, or that duo were so great. Back in the 70s and 80s and 90s and 2000s, and things kind of fell apart a little bit there, but I've liked a lot of their albums, like the most recent albums. It has an Invincible Shield. Talks to the band on that one. Has Richie Faulkner is like the main guitar player. Glenn Tipton kind of plays on that album a little bit. He's had some health issues that sadly he's not what he used to be. We all get older. I like the Firepower, I like that album. So some of the stuff they've done in recent years I've liked a lot. It's just Redeemer of Souls, and gives a chapter, and each chapter is about 10 pages or so, and not including like the pictures and stuff like that. They'll have usually Martin will have like one picture, one page will just have one solid picture. So it's like I said, it's really light reading. And, it's a lot of fun too. So even if you don't like to read books, I think these will appeal to you just because it gives a reference to each song, and each chapter is dedicated to each album. So that's a lot of fun. So let me know in the comments if you ever read any of these album by album. I've been kind of surprised at how many like hard rock and metal fans that I know of, like Tony Dio, if you've ever seen him on Almost Human and Lair of the Alchemist, and he's also on, you see him on Sea of Tranquility. Talk about, just recently they had like on Almost Human, Tony Dio was there with Martin Popoff and Ralph, if you know Ralph from Almost Human. And they were doing like a live stream, and they were just talking about Iron Maiden, like I think some of their favorite Iron Maiden songs or something like that, or something like that. It was Iron Maiden based, and Martin pulled out he's written several books on Iron Maiden and kind of given his thoughts and stuff. So Martin's he's studied these bands, he's interviewed them, and he knows quite a bit. I think he's in his probably late 60s or so, and I would really like to have made the mid to late 60s probably, but I would really like to have Martin on my channel just to talk about these books. These are the only ones I've ever owned, the album by album series. Those are the only ones I've ever owned from him, but I've known about Martin Popoff for years. He's been around hard rock and metal for several decades. So, but please let me know in the comments what you think of these books. If you ever checked any of these out, tell me what you think of Judas Priest And everybody have a great one.